Welcome, everybody, to the second In the North podcast. I'm your host, John Guarna. I'm joined by my co-host, Briana Goodchild. And Briana, we got some pretty awesome guests with us tonight. We've got Tiana Mangakahia and we've got Peter Crawford joining us. Guys, thanks so much for taking the time to join the podcast tonight.
Yeah, hi, how you doing?
Tiana coming from quarantine, Pete coming from, looks like he's out in the bush up in North Queensland. So we couldn't get much different from that. Briana and I are here down in Brisbane and really excited to have you guys with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tiana, I want to kick off with you. You've had a pretty interesting journey. You're in quarantine, just coming out of WNBA camp. What was that experience like for you on a basketball level?
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I was with the Phoenix Mercury, so I was with Diana Taurasi and Skylar Diggins, and just really learning from them during the camp. I was there for about 3 weeks, and it was just so amazing. They were so welcoming, and they really made me feel comfortable on the floor. So I don't know, it was just like an amazing experience.
I know Diana Taurasi is one of those ones who's like a big icon for so many female players and male players as well. So what do you think was like the biggest takeaway from training alongside her?
I think the main thing for me was, she can literally, like, she's older now. She doesn't have to train, if she doesn't want to. But she was at every practice. She was competing, going hard. She was in early. She would stay late to work out, and it just like amazed me because I honestly didn't think that like vets would really be practicing in training camp that much, and like she just was still killing in practice and still working. So that was just like, when I saw that, I just knew that for me to be that great, I have to continue to work.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. And I know like one of my sister, Go Duke, wearing a shirt, one of her sayings, which she has on the mirror as a bit of motivation, is like, train insane or remain the same. So I think obviously it's working for Diana.
Yeah. She is a workhorse. So.
Wow. Crazy. Such a cool experience.
It was
and
amazing.
Tiana, we go back to Div 1, under 14s, under 16s, I think. So there you go.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you the connection to Northside and how that came about.
So Beck Stevens her dad Tony Stevens, coached me in under 16s at Southern Districts. And that was my junior club, Spartans. I was there since I started playing. And then she had reached out to my agent and just, spoke to him about me playing over here. And I told her like I was going to go to the WNBA camp. So it just depends if I was, if I make the team, I will obviously play there. But yeah, like I've known Beck since I was younger, and I have a lot of trust in her, and I feel like she has trust in me too. So it wasn't really a hard decision.
Northside is definitely different from Spartans, but you'll be playing in a competition in the NBL1 North that obviously it's a new competition, but you'd be quite familiar with a lot of the players in the competition. And a lot of those people that you'll be in Opal's camp with will be featured as well. So what are your expectations coming into the NBL1 North?
Yeah, I really just want to play my game. I've developed and I've improved a lot since I was last in Australia. So I think, for Northside, I just want to bring my ability to get others involved and really score the ball. I feel like before college, I wasn't really a scorer much. I was more of a facilitator, which I still am, but I feel like I've improved a lot on the scoring end. So yeah, just, getting everybody involved and just really being there for my team and doing what I have to do to get the win.
No, I know that we're excited to see you in the competition. I'm sure Northside Wizards fans will be very excited to see you. Pete, you've been in this competition. You've played in the QBL before this, the NBL1 North. What's the Townsville city like for this new competition, and what's the Heats fans' expectations with this really increased level of competition?
We've got a really local this year, so we haven't had a huge budget, but I think Townsville's just happy to have basketball back. We had a season off, so everyone's missed out on basketball for a little while. So it's good to get back in amongst it. This is the highest level for the men in Townsville. Obviously, the females got to watch the whole WNBL play in Townsville just before Christmas, which was pretty cool. But it's good to get the locals out, get all the local basketballers out, and get to see them play. So it's a pretty good vibe at the moment.
Some good basketball up north, and I know that the crowds really get around it. So what was it like first weekend? Was there many people getting involved?
Yeah, we get good crowds in Townsville. So we had a junior competition going on the backcourts just before we played as well. So yeah, there wasn't a spot available in the car park. You had to pretty much hitchhike from home to get here. So it's a good sign. So yeah, Townsville Basketball's had the most members in the juniors that we've ever had before, and the sport is doing really well. So it's good to have the semi-pro league back and the NBL1 affiliated with the NBL, and it should be exciting season.
Pete, I know you had a pretty successful national tournament wearing your coach's hat. What was that like to bring the gold home and bring it home to Queensland?
I mean, it was super exciting. So it's a third Queensland team to do it in the men's. So, I had a really good group of players. So a good bunch of guys. Two guys came back from Boston, and Blake came back from the silver medal team the year before. So they were really driven. It was just an easy group to coach. They all bought in, played really well. It's like anything, coaching can be a little bit stressful. We're together for 10 or 11 days there with a little mini camp before we go. But they executed, played really well, all bought in. And now I think the last team that won from Queensland with a gold medal, 7 of those guys went pro and 2 of them went to the NBA. So I think a few of them guys have got that same trajectory, and hopefully they can play really well in NBL1 and towards NBL and have big long careers. So
I'm going to ask the question: when are we going to see you wearing that coaching hat in the NBL1 North?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very time consuming coaching. It's playing, but yeah, it is. I guess it's I kind of, when I was playing in the NBL, I never wanted to be a coach. The assistant coach for the Adelaide 36ers, Tracy York, kind of grabbed me for the WNBL in Adelaide, and then I coached another 2 years as an assistant coach in Townsville with the WNBL. So that kind of gave me a little taste of what it is, and then I've been involved in the under 20s program as an assistant coach for 3 years, and 2 years and a head coach for 3 years. My first year as a head coach with the girls, we came dead last, and the last 2 years with the boys, we've got a silver and a gold. So I do enjoy it. They are a high level, the under 20s. The good thing about 20s is that they've learned all the skills. They've been all in the BQ, MPP, SPP programs, and they've learnt how to play basketball. So you can come in and you can put in a fair few tactics. You don't have to teach too much. You can actually coach, and it's really fun to be in the environment and tactically attack the game in that sort of sense.
And I was going to suggest the player coach, because then you don't have to practice. You just got to run practice. So I imagine that'd be a pro to being a player coach, right?
I actually like practice. Like I enjoy it. Like I enjoy the competitiveness. I don't know why I'm still playing. I probably shouldn't be, but I enjoy it. I feel like I've got a skill set that's still valuable at this level. So, I just like the competitiveness. I enjoy playing. It can be frustrating at times, but I do enjoy the process of being a basketball player as well. And that's one thing at the NBL1 level that you probably get a little bit nervous about, is that you don't put in the body of work that you used to as a pro. I played professionally for 16 years, and the way you prepare for a game isn't quite the same, just because everyone's got a job, so they're not full-time athletes. So there is that, but it is still the highest level, that you can play at the moment. So it is enjoyable. It is a high level of basketball. So it's pretty cool to still be playing. And
it's been the first weekend we had it. It's here. We waited for so long for the NBL1 North to kick off, obviously, with all the COVID restrictions. It was a bit of a delay. We'll get into what happened in round one, and Tiana, Pete, we'll get your thoughts on what went down in round one. Go through the results with you guys as well. Really keen to maybe get your guys' thoughts on some of these performances as well. I'll kick over to you though, Briana, if you want to start us off.
Yeah, so NBL1 North kicked off on Thursday evening, and we had the Sunshine Coast Phoenix claim bragging rights over USC Rip City, with the women taking the win 89-70 and the men doing the same with a bit of a landslide, 98-56. So pretty convincing wins there for our Phoenix team.
Yeah, Phoenix had a couple of really big performances in the men's side of things. My guy Nelson Collar had a huge game, 28 points, 12 rebounds, a couple blocks. I mean, when you have a guy shooting 86% from the field, I think you're going to be having some pretty good success. And that's definitely bragging rights for Nelson and the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. On the women's side of things, Beyonce Abbott had the big game for Phoenix, 22 points, 14 rebounds. She shot 69% from the field as well. And the Phoenix got that 87-70 win over their local rivals, the University of Sunshine Coast, Rip City. A couple of players that you guys might be familiar with, Pete and Tiana. Beyonce has been in the league for a little while performing like that. And Nelson Collar is a guy who's been around the QBL, had a couple goes at the NBL, hasn't gotten picked up just yet, but I don't think he's all that far off. Pete, you would have matched up with Nelson, I'm sure, over the years.
Yeah, he's 28 and 12. That's a big game. 12-14 from the field. He hit a 3 as well. So he's had a really big game. He's got Roberto on his team as well, the Roberto brothers as well. So he's got a good little group there that can be highly effective and has a high-powered offense. And Oscar Clough, who is been in the 20s program as well, is super handy. He's a big guy as well that can help them out. He had 8 rebounds in 19 minutes. So that's a big win for them over Rip. A few players in Rip had probably a bit of a quiet game from what they've expected to play. I'm sure they'll come out and play a bit better next week.
Tiana, I'm gonna look at you. I'm gonna put you on the spot. I know you only recently got back to the country, but obviously you gotta guess. I guess you almost have to refamiliarize yourself with some of the competition, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I only really watched teams in Brisbane from the past weekend, so I haven't.
While you're in quarantine, I do want to ask you this though: do you have a workout regime that you have to go through, or anything that's keeping you fit?
Yeah, I do actually. The Opals trainer, Brent, he sent me a little workout thing to do with like band resistance and some like abs and stuff like that. So I've been doing that. I don't have anything else to do. So
yeah, no basketball in the room.
Just goes to show how much sport has to adapt with everything that's happened with COVID. I mean, from how our leagues have changed in like when they're scheduled to how they're played, where they're played, how the roster changes all this time, and now like quarantine workouts. It's all just part of sport these days.
And then when I get back, I'm like, hey, let's see how game 1 goes.
Right back into it for sure.
Right.
Well, I know my sister because it was she got out of quarantine last week, and I know for her it was 3 weeks before 3 weeks since she'd held a basketball, which as a player is a long time. So she found, when she got back on the court, like she's like, oh, a bit rusty, like really hitting the trainings hard and the gym hard, because 3 weeks, in a career, especially one as long as yours, Peter, isn't heaps of time, but it's enough for you to start to feel a bit, like, where's my ball? Where's my third limb? Yeah,
for sure.
For someone as much as your sister as well. So yeah, she's probably to get some shots up. She's a gym rat, that's for sure.
Yeah, she really is. She's training with the women's Spartans as well, joining in there, scrubbing up on a few skills while she's here.
Well,
I don't know if we'll get to see her though. We won't get to see her on the court, unfortunately. But there's a lot more happening across the league at the moment. Pete, there was a bit of action in Townsville. I think Townsville Basketball was pretty happy after round 1.
Yeah, so the girls got a win in a high octane offensive game, 56-52. No, it was the
close one.
Yeah, it was close. It was the Townsville girls are really small, And obviously Kayla George is, you know, a superstar. She's going to be an opal in the Olympics. So she's planning to stay in shape. And the girls couldn't score in the first half for Townsville, and then Mackay couldn't score in the second half. I think Shannon did a great job tactically of getting players in positions that would help make them successful and they can score, and defensively having a philosophy of making it tough for Mackay as well. And they grinded out a win, which was really good for them. You know, it wasn't super high scoring, but it was still a very entertaining game.
And the men's was close as well. Yeah. We had 87-84 with, again, Townsville just taking it out over Mackay. So, again, two pretty close nail-biting games there.
Yeah, the men's game was good. You know, I feel like Townsville had it under control most of the game, but you know, Mackay they have three really good players in Chris Cedar, Malou and Jamison, who are all very capable. Malou is a tough guard. He's a big guy that can step out and shoot threes, and he's going to dunk on a few more people. He dunked on a few of our guys. He is very athletic, and Chris is just going to get better and better. That was his first game. You know, he hit a big three down the stretch, and then they had a few little mistakes that went our favor, but JPC had a big block at the end of the game, which, you know, really sealed it for us. So it's got a bit of everything, the NBL1 at the moment, as everyone's starting to find their feet and, you know, get a little bit of rust off as well. And with not every team having imports and the NBL1 the NBL guys not coming back to the NBL1 for a little while, it's the rosters aren't quite as deep. So local guys are getting opportunities and they have to stand up and play well. So it'll be interesting to see which local guys and NBL1 vets can step up and produce for each team.
And Mac, we'll hear a little bit more about Mactown because they had the dreaded Townsville Cairns double to start the season. We'll touch base with them just shortly. Moving on, though, we had it was a bit of a rivalry, the Capitals against your Northside Wizards, Tiana.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you got to catch those games, but speaking to Coach Stevens, did she give you a bit of an update on what happened and where she sees you fitting with the group after round one?
I did actually watch that game. Brisbane have great players, and I think for us right now, we didn't really have like a main point guard, and our post player is still not there. So I think Brisbane, actually Brooke Blair, she is a great player. I actually played against her when she played for New Zealand at the Oceania tournaments. So she's great. And Stephanie Collins, I played with for the Australian team under 17s. So yeah, they have a great team. And I think Northside kept up actually really well. I think it was tied at halftime, and then pretty much third quarter is kind of where we lost it a little bit. But just with that depth, we didn't have, you know, all of our players there. So, but I thought
who impressed you in seeing them play for the first time?
Yeah, Wooly, her name, I don't know, Georgia.
Georgia, yep.
Yeah, so she really impressed me because I've actually never heard of her, like, obviously because I've been in America, but just watching that game, she really impressed me. And Courtney Woods, I grew up with Courtney Woods, so I kind of know how she plays, but she has been in college for a while as well. So, yeah, just seeing her, and those are the two players that really impressed me on Northside.
Yeah, there are definitely a couple of players to be excited about, and putting yourself into that mix, it's going to be an exciting trio. Unfortunately, though, in round one, Wizards dropped that one 82-65, and the Wizards also dropped the men's side of things as well, 101-73. I got to give a shout out to my guy, Ben Volkman. I know Ben for a long time. Had a double-double. I spoke to him actually during the week, and he said, man, they should have given me a few more assists. I was really close to that triple-double. He had 6 assists. I mean, I think if you guys know Ben, he loves it. He loves a good chat, and he loves to pump himself up. So I think probably 6 assists is probably generous, let alone trying to steal a few others. And also Jordan Papakostas, a guy that I'm familiar with. And Pete, you'd be familiar with Jordan as well. Had a pretty good NBL1 North debut, 18 points and 8 rebounds. Playing at this level for the first time is a pretty good output.
Yeah, that's really good for a young guy like that to come in and play at that level. So obviously didn't have too many nerves, which is good, or maybe it was good just to have a big win to get a taste of the league and the speed. Studdy played pretty well. Also, he's an under-20s player from a year or two ago, so it's good to see him. He's a bit of a points guard, more of a point guard, but he can definitely fill it up. And they've got a good crew going there, so they're going to be tough. Zach Carter is pretty solid, as he always is, so that was good. And Northside's got a Townsville guy playing for him, Logan Kyle, who's been in our program for a little while, that had a pretty good game in 17 and 6. So a bit disappointing that they didn't win. Aiden Krause has come back from an ankle injury, so he's a point guard that is a real tough defender. So I expect him to build on his stats as the season goes on. And I actually played with Tem in Adelaide, so he just seems to pop up everywhere and chip away as well. So hopefully they can get their crew rolling a bit better and get a couple wins during the season.
Excellent. Next clash we had on the cards was Thunder take on Red City Raw. So in the women's, we had Thunder get a very convincing win, 95-37. And for the men's, it was a similar story, but slightly less convincing, 107-89. So I saw a bit of training happening with the Red City women's a couple of weeks ago, just before we started this weekend. And it's just about that team finding rhythm, I think. And that's probably a big thing we can all relate to, is when there's a new team and we're sort of trying things out, rhythm's such a big part to play.
Yeah, and in that women's game, Ashtaya, 35 points. She shot 10 of 13 from three-point land. I mean, I don't care what level you're playing at. That's an incredible stat line. 35 points, no rebounds, 1 assist. She shot 70% from the field and 77% from three. I mean, that is a stat line like I have never seen before. And it's a really ominous sign for the rest of the competition if Ashtaya is going to start off shooting that well. 10 of 13, I mean, to be fair, and this is not anything against Ash herself, but there's no chance that she's keeping that pace going the whole season. Please tell me if I'm wrong, please.
No, yeah.
You got that, Tiana? You
Okay.
get game, you can go 10 or 13 first game, can't you?
Oh, she's not. Oh, yeah, of course I could. What? No, when we play her, she's not catching the ball. No.
All right.
And on the men's side of things, Jeremy Kendall, he's been all over the place just for the NBL. Then he was over in New Zealand. Next thing you know, he turns up in Logan and just casually drops a triple-double, 29 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. We know what Jeremy can do at any level of competition in Australia, and to come in and drop a triple-double in game one, not really all that surprising, but he's going to be a real problem within that group down in Logan, Pete. And I think, if Kendall's there running the show, putting that scoring output, they're going to be tough.
Yeah, they've still got another point guard coming in from the NBL, but JK is, he's easily one of the best players in this league, if not the best player. And they've got a good mix of players. Youngie had a real solid game. He's got the rim protection, and if he's rolling to the rim, he's hard to stop. Mick Cedar I played with, and he's just going to be solid. He's an old head now, and he knows how to play and how to score. And if he plays his role right as well, he's going to make it easy for Boston Maslin, who had a great under-20s campaign with the gold medal and was shooting the ball really well. So they've got lots of pieces there. They're going to be tough to stop because, all them guys can fill it up, and most of them did, and they're going to be it's going to be a hard defensive philosophy to try and shut them guys down all season.
A really tough group down in Logan on both sides. So when you come down south, that game when you go down to Logan is always going to be a tough one, that's for sure, no matter which team is coming down here. We talked about them earlier. We'll move on to the next one. That Mackay group rebounded to get a win in Cairns. The women won 100-58 over the Dolphins. On the men's side of things, it was a tight one. And you mentioned him earlier, Pete. Chris Cedar pretty much won the game for Mactown up in Cairns. They pull out the 77-75 win, a buzzer, not really a buzzer beater. I mean, come on, Chris, he did beat the buzzer. There was still about 6 seconds to go, and then think Jerron Jamerson had a big block to seal the win for Mackay.
Yeah, that's big for Mackay. You didn't want to start off 0-2, so that they split that and then they go home. They're pretty happy. Chris is a big game player. He's not going to shy away from the moment. If anything, he gravitates towards it, and he's performed in that situation multiple times. So it's not unusual to see it again. He did play the whole game, so obviously. Fatigue didn't affect it. It was interesting to see Malou only played 19 and a half minutes. He still had 19 points and 10 rebounds. So if he played a bit more, I don't know whether he's injured or whether he struggles on the back end of a doubleheader or what happened there. So, and Jerron's solid as well. For Cairns, it's good to see Kai Statman's playing really well. Like, again, off the back end of that under-20s campaign, he's doing really well. Fisher's leading the ship as he always does in Cairns. 18 points, 12 rebounds. He's a workhorse. So they haven't done a whole lot of training. Obviously, Kerry Williams is their coach. He was the under-20 girls coach, so he's had a lot on his plate in the last month and a half. So they're going to just keep getting better and better. It's good to see Alex Loughton back in the mix as well, having a run around. You don't lose talent or size. So
yeah. Couple of elders still running around in the NBL1 North, that's for sure. On the women's side of things, Tiana, one of your Opal's teammates, Kayla George, she's going to be a real problem in this comp, and she was definitely a problem for Cairns. 22 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists. Chelsea Brooke also had 37 points and 11 rebounds. Tiana, have you ever played with Kayla before, or is this camp going to be the first time?
Yeah, I've never played with her before, and Mackay was actually out of Northside of Mackay for me when I came back. And the only reason I really chose Northside was because my family is here and Beck. But I really, I was this close because of Kayla. I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to play with her. She's an amazing 4-5 player, and she's very talented. So I've actually never been able to play with her, but I can't wait.
Yeah, that camp is not too far away either.
Yeah, I'm not able to go because I'm in quarantine.
So
I won't. Yeah.
So are you then are you still going to have an opportunity to potentially make the team if you can't make the camp? What's happening?
I don't really know. I don't think so, but it really depends if Standy wants me on the team or not, because after this camp they will pick the team.
Yeah, that's disappointing. I know it's an opportunity that's so close to you. So hopefully it's not the last opportunity for you.
Yeah.
We'll move on from that Mackay Cairns game. We only got a couple more to get through, guys.
Game of the week.
Yeah, the game of the week. It was our debut, Briana.
It was. So we were commentating the action live there at the NBL1 North game of the week, which of course was Spartans take on the Pirates at the Ship in Hibiscus. And so we saw the women's play. Look, at the end, the Spartans did run away with the lead and they won 85-56 for the women's. And then the men's, it looked like a runaway, but it tightened up in that fourth and final quarter and ended up with a score of Spartans taking it out 92-86 for the Pirates.
Tiana, I wanted to start off with you on this one because obviously it's your former club, the Spartans. I'm sure there's some familiar faces in that group still as well. And then you also have Maddie Rochi, who is a really talented young point guard like yourself as well.
Yeah, I pretty much know everybody in the Spartans team. I've met Maddie a couple of times just when I was back from college, just training. But yeah, no, they're such a great team, and they've played together for a lot of the girls have played together for a long time, since I was here playing. So, like Kalani Purcell and I'm pretty sure Holly Smith. I don't know if she still played.
She's back.
They've all played together for such a long time. So, I mean, their chemistry is already set. And then you add Maddie in, and she's a great player. She can shoot, drive, create for others. So they're a great team.
Yeah, they're certainly going to be one of the teams to beat, you got to think, heading into NBL1 North for sure.
Yeah, when we play them, I'm going to play go 100%.
I bet.
Yes, extra hard.
Get back at the former teammates. And on the men's side of things, it turned out to be quite a good game. It looked like Spartans were going to run away with it. Southwest made them work for it for sure. 92-86. Pete, I think at the moment when you look at the rosters, Southern Districts is pretty much set. As our Pirates are going to be bringing in Teasy. I'm not sure if we'll see anyone else join those groups, but you got to think, it might be tough for Pirates. You talked about some teams with the lack of size. Pirates were playing Jacoby Hunter at the 5 spot.
I do not this is mind blowing to me that Blake Jones played 5 minutes, 26 seconds. Like the dude is in the NBL already. So, I mean, I'm not having a crack at their coach, but he just won back-to-back MVP tournaments at 20s. Like he had multiple NBL teams chasing. I cannot understand why he's only played 5.5 minutes. That's a guy that has a 3-man skill set that he can play at the 4, a 4-man skill set that he can post up. He can break guys down off the dribble. He's got a 3-point shot. That guy's a weapon. I do know Jacoby Hunter and Joel Matisek. I know those guys play hard. They are big. They are strong. They do put 100% effort in, but I'm sure Blake could have picked any NBL1 to play for, and I'm not sure that's what I would have expected out of him coming into this, unless you guys got some inside information.
My information was that he was actually coming back from an injury, so I don't know if he was still affected by the injury. He certainly got on the court for a few minutes. And to be fair, and again, he probably didn't look the greatest performance-wise, but they really struggled for points. They didn't have a lot of size. So I was with you where I was surprised that he didn't play all that much, but I think he was still recovering from an injury because he didn't look happy. It could be from an injury or that he didn't play a lot. So
that NBL play, I can't imagine any NBL. He's on an NBL roster. He started for the Bullets like a month ago. So he's come off like an MVP tournament for the 20s. It's probably a little bit confusing for him to even play that role, to not have a stat at all, not take a shot or get a rebound. I'll have to go back and watch that game and see what happened. But he's someone to watch in this league. He can be top 5 player or MVP of this league. So it's interesting to see how he was used. It's good to see Cam Gordon get a bit of a run, but I was hoping he would get a few more minutes as well. He's one of the most athletic guys in that age group. He can get on the rim and really change a game with his defense. So maybe there's a few different things that they can do to be competitive if it was me. But, I'm playing for Townsville. So, yeah, sit there, guys out.
This is the coach side talking.
Yeah. Well, I do.
So I am a bit biased. I just had them guys and was successful with them. So I know what they can do. So, yeah, that's all.
You'll be happy to know, Pete, that Cam Gordon has definitely showed off the springs. He put down a couple of nice ones. I commented that, he kind of jumped, and then it felt like while he was in the air, he still had a bit of extra elevation too. And it's not something that you see all that often in people. You usually see that initial spring, but he lifted and then he almost went up again at a second time. It was really impressive.
He is a great athlete. Yes, that's strength. So yeah, if you can employ that in the game plan, you're going to be super successful with him.
Exactly. And I know in the NBL, Magna used to be one of my favorite dunkers, and I tipped him early as, one of the ones to watch, but maybe Cam Gordon can be our, new dunking superstar here in the NBL1 North.
Yeah. That's it. Fact, easily.
There we go.
Well, let's wrap up the last week, and then Briana, I think we'll talk about our players of the week. I'm not sure if we can put Tiana and Pete on the spot to make their calls.
Okay, well, yeah, so the last games on Sunday, we had the Rollers take it out against Ipswich for both games. So for the women's, it was 78 victory to Ipswich Force's 54 points. And for the men's, super close game, we had the Rollers win by 1 point, taking out a 74-73 victory against Ipswich.
Yeah, and in that men's game, it was another last-minute shot. That time it was Jared Eustace hitting an open 3 to give them that lead and to win that game. I think Ipswich would be disappointed to leave the Gold Coast with the donut for both of those games. On the women's side of things, I think probably Ipswich would be a little disappointed. They have a pretty talented group. but Gold Coast is always tough at home. They're a really strong defensive team, and I think that's a really solid win for Gold Coast. I think that's one of those ones where you'll look back later on in the season and say, wow, that was a pretty good win to start the season. So Gold Coast kicks things off with two pretty solid wins. Pete, Tiana, did you guys want to jump in on either of those games?
See, what do you got?
For me.
Yeah.
Game. She has doing in quarantine, watching Netflix.
Yeah.
Well, Tiana, and everyone knows that every single game in the NBL1 North will be live streamed. You can watch every single one of them on NBL1.com.au, or you could download the NBL app and watch all of the games, not just in NBL1 North, but across all of the NBL1 competitions across the state. And then obviously, you can watch some NBL as well. So there's a bit of activity for you in quarantine.
Yeah.
Well, I think Gold Coast men's team has a lot of pieces. So they got TJ Diop, who can rebound and plays a role. Cam Goldfinch, who had a bit of a quiet game, who's super athletic, can shoot the ball as well. Anthony Petrie's the vet there that can pull all them guys down and in and control the tempo of the game. So, Cam Dalton's there. And then you got Preston Legasic, who had a massive game as well.
Awesome. Had a pretty good under-20s too, didn't he, Pete?
Yeah, he's a stud at the point. He's a very reliable shooter and can run the team. And Lloyd McVeigh is just like his brother, plays really, really hard and gets after it. So, I think Gold Coast is just going to keep improving, and they're going to be one of the tougher teams in this league. And they've still got guys coming in, right? They've signed a few other guys that are employed at other teams at the moment.
A couple of guys from the Bullets, Jason Kadee and Anthony Drimmick, still to come into that group. So certainly on paper, one of the teams to really look out for in that men's competition. Briana, I'm going to put you on the spot now, though. I want to know who were your players of the week for round one in the NBL1 North competition.
Well, I do want to take a special feature to the game that I had the privilege of seeing live, which of course was the game of the week at the Ship. So focusing on Spartans and Pirates, because I got to see that live firsthand. So really got to feel the adrenaline and the action. So definitely on the women's side, I mean, you can't go past Amanda Johnson because it was a massive 30 points, 18 rebounds, just crazy. And what really impressed me about seeing her live was she came out with such intensity and really just brought it every area of the game. Really had to sort of help helm the team. And then what amazed me was you could start to see her wear down. She went off the bench for like a minute, 2 minutes max, back on, back at it, 100%. So I think for me, she was like the human rechargeable battery. And that's just what blew me away. So I just couldn't get past that. But of course, Kayla George just having a massive start as well. Like, got to shout that out too. And I've met her before being in Townsville and stuff, and she's just a lovely person as well. So shout out to Kayla. In the men's side of things, so again, just because I saw it live, I was just impressed, probably not as a MVP of the round, but just I want to do a shout out to Rami Cody for just really coming in for the clutch in the fourth, as in, they didn't win it, but I think a big part of their comeback streak, we were having fun on the commentating bench, really looking at the game he brought and how he sort of went from a bit of a no-show in the first half to bringing us something different in the fourth. So yeah, looking at that. Otherwise, I think in terms of from Logan's team, they had some big games, and Jeremy Kendall with his 29 points and whopper rebounds as well. What was it? It was something like 12 rebounds, massive, and then Mitch Young getting 25 points as well with 9 rebounds. So I think Logan had like some really strong players on the team in the men's side of things.
I think I think we touched on them. My top 5 players of the week. I got to go Jeremy Kendall. I mean, a triple double. I don't know how you can vote anyone else outside of that in the number one spot. I'm going to then follow that up with Nelson Collar. That's a huge line, 28-12, 2 blocks, hitting at 86% from the field in a big rivalry game. I'm going to put him at number 2 for me. Number 3, I got to give it to my guy, Chris Cedar. He had a great weekend, really, and that game winner, I think, just gives him a slight edge over his teammate, Emmanuel Malou. He had a great one. And I'm going to go with the guys from Brisbane and Ben Volkman and Jordan Papakostas. Benny is back from a knee injury, so to perform like he did in a big win against Northside, and then Jordan coming in and contributing solidly to a win. I'm going to go with those guys. And then on the women's side of things, I can't really go past Kayla George's massive weekend, 22 points and 20 rebounds in that win over Cairns. Pretty solid performance up in Townsville as well. Her teammate Chelsea Brook, 37 and 11 in the win over Cairns. Didn't have the great output in that Townsville game, but still, 37 points in any comp is a good one. Ash Taya, like I mentioned, 35 points on 10 of 13. I mean, again, that just speaks for itself. Maddie Rochi was really close in the game against Southwest to a triple-double, 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. And then I did mention right off the start, Beyonce Abbott, 22 points and 14 rebounds. So those would be my top 5 players for the men and the women in round 1. Guys, we're going to wrap things up fairly shortly. But before we do, we're putting you both on the spot. We're going to run through this week's game. We're going to get you to pick a winner in each one. So I think the round kicks off down on the Gold Coast, it looks like. We have Gold Coast taking on the Cairns teams. Pete, who are you tipping in the men and the women?
In the men, I'm tipping Gold Coast.
Okay, and what about the women?
The women, I'm tipping Gold Coast.
All right.
Ditto.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I'm going with Gold Coast as well for both.
Yeah. And it looks like Briana is going to do the same. Do I want to switch it up? There's the part of me that wants to, but I do have to think that the Gold Coast Rollers and the men and the women are also gonna take those ones out. The men's game, I'm expecting to be probably closer to the women's game, but again, you never know. That's why we play the game, right?
That's it. That's basketball.
Yeah. The next one is then Mackay taking on Rockhampton. It's a big rivalry game in round 2. Rocky kicking their season off. I'm going to start with you, Tiana. Who do you like in the Mackay Rocky in the men and the women?
I think Mackay women, and I'm not familiar with the men, but I'm just going to go with Mackay because my mom's from there.
All right. Hey, remember NBL1.com.au. We're going to expect next time that we get you on that you'll have watched every single game. All right, Tiana? We're going to hold you to it also.
Oh, yeah. Okay, for sure.
How about you, Pete?
I'm taking Mackay for both those games.
All right, Briana?
I'm boring. They're stealing my words. I had Mackay for both of them as well, just based off this week's that's being results. Yeah. Yeah.
And, I'll be boring as well. I'm going to have to tip Mackay. I do think it probably hurts Rocky a little bit to kind of not have any game time. I think also with Mackay being on the road to open the season, it's a bit of a bonding trip. It kind of forces you guys to come together a little bit more. And I think that'll put the Mackay teams in a pretty good position to pick up 2 wins. We move on to Saturday, Briana. Who are we opening up with?
Yeah, so Brisbane Capitals versus Southern Districts. And look, I think it's going to be really hard to beat the Spartans teams, to be honest, especially the women's. I think that's a really strong team, and I'm tipping that might even be in the grand final or be one of the grand final teams. And then likewise with men, I still think the men, they came a bit close to Pirates, but I think they can probably get the Capitals.
All right, so Brianna's tipping Spartans in both. Pete, how about you? What do you think? Brisbane versus Southern Districts?
I'm taking Spartans in the women, but I will go with Brisbane in the men.
Ooh,
right.
Love it.
Splitting it up finally. Thank you. How about you, Tiana? Are you just going to stick to your roots and go Districts in both? Come on.
I'm going to go with the girls for sure, Spartans. And then for the guys, I did watch a little bit of the Northside versus Brisbane game for the men. And I think, Brisbane will beat Spartans men.
Yeah. All right. And I should go first, so I don't sound like I'm ripping off everyone else, but I'm going to actually go the Capitals men's as well. And I do think the Districts women's will pick up the win. So that's my tip in that game.
Awesome. So next then we've got Ipswich versus Dolphins. So Ipswich Force versus Cairns Dolphins. I think Ipswich are going to take it for the men's because they were so close last time. And as we sort of discussed, it almost should have been their win. So I think definitely for the men's. and, keep a good thing going. I also think the same for the women's. The Ipswich women's are going to take it out against the Cairns Dolphins.
I like it. Tiana, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, I think Ipswich for both as well, for men and women.
All right. Pete?
I'm going to go Ipswich for the women, and I'm going to go Cairns with the men. They'll get a little upset on Saturday night.
Yeah. Back to back is really tough no matter what competition you're playing in. I find it a bit of a challenge. I really do want to tip the Cairns men, but I have to go with Ipswich just because Cairns is going to be backing up, playing 2 games in 2 nights. I think is going to be tough, and I'm going to go with the Ipswich women as well. So I'm going to say Ippy's going to sweep the doubleheader.
Sweep the doubleheader. Then we've got Northside Wizards. Woo, 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 Tiana. Versus Coast Phoenix. So, yeah. Well, Tiana, because you're here, I'm definitely going to go you guys just to put a solid. But no, I think you'll have a pretty challenging game against the Phoenix, and I think for the men's, the Phoenix are definitely going to take it out. Is probably what I'm tipping.
Did we confirm Northside for the women? Is that what we're?
Yeah. You know what? One? Tiana coming in there. Oh wait, are you playing this weekend?
I'm not playing this weekend.
Oh, okay. You know what? Maybe I'm going Phoenix until you return, and then it all changes once you get on the court. Bring that tenacity you always have.
Tiana, you this is live, so you do have to make a prediction. And being in quarantine, I'm assuming you want to make a good impression on your new teammates and club.
Well, I don't know who plays for Phoenix anyway, so I think Northside's going to win, and I think Northside men are going to win too.
All right, I like it. How about you, Pete?
I'm going for the Phoenix.
In both?
Oh, yeah.
Take it personally, Tiana.
No, it's definitely not a personal attack.
Yeah, I'll change it up. Tiana's there, Beck's a good coach. She'll look after T, make sure they get a few more.
Yeah, Tiana's going to be a difference maker. I do think, though, I definitely think the Wizards will. I'm going to tip them in the women, but I'm going to tip Phoenix in the men. I just think the Phoenix are one of those teams that they have a lot of talent. They're a group that's played together for a little while. I think they have some really difficult matchups for Northside as well. So I'm going to go Phoenix in the men.
There we go. Wow, big round 2 coming our way. It's going to be epic.
Big one. Wrapping things up on Saturday, we got Red City Roar taking on Southwest Metro Pirates. Pete, I'm going to kick off with you. Who are you tipping in that one?
I'm going to go with Southwest Metro in the men, just because a little bit more experience there. In the women's, I'm not too sure. Let's go with Southwest as well.
All right. Tiana?
Yeah, I think Southwest, both men and women.
Men and women. Briana, how about you?
Broken record time, Southwest for both. And yeah. It will be quite convincing.
I like the Southwest Metro Pirates in the women's. I think Red City, though, gonna get it in the men. So that's what I'll tip there for sure. Moving on. Saturday is a big day in NBL1 North. Wrapping things up on Saturday. A team up in North Queensland, Townsville, going to host Rockhampton. Being that we have one of the Townsville players, Pete, we want to hear your predictions first. I'm sure you're tipping Rocky in both.
No. Flames will get them in the girls definitely, and while we'll be a little bit undermanned, I think the Heat should be able to get the job done on the back end of a road trip. Tough road trip for Rocky there, when Wilch is still in quarantine. So happy about that for us. About that for Wiltshire though, but he's a really tough player. He won a couple of championships with Townsville. He's a legend. He's a top bloke, and I'm sure he'll be tearing up the league after next round.
Tell us why you're going to be undermanned this weekend, Pete. What's happening? What's the scoop?
No, we'll be all right. We'll be all right.
Do we have to delay posting this till Sunday morning after the game?
No, we'll be all right. We'll be all right.
So, not surprisingly, Pete tips Townsville in both. How about you, Tiana?
I have Townsville in the women because I go back with Michaela Cox and Mia Newley. So, but for the men, I'm going with Rocky.
Oh boy.
Definitely
wow.
Dig it in.
I
I like it.
have
Got you
no
back.
idea.
I like it. Cold-blooded, Tiana. I love it. How about you, Briana?
Okay, I think the Townsville men can handle the heat. And so they're going to heat things up on the court and take out the win against Rocky. And in the women, they're going to flame Rockhampton as well. So I'm going both Townsville.
I'm gonna actually go with Townsville for both as well. I think again, I do think Townsville at home is always a really tough place to play, and you guys always get an awesome crowd out there. They're pretty rowdy. That bar area is a sight to be seen, and when the drinks are flowing, it's a tough place up in Townsville, that's for sure.
That's it. Hard to go against that crowd energy.
It sure is. And our game of the week is actually on Sunday. It is the Logan Thunder taking on the Ipswich Force. That is going to be your NBL1 North game of the week. Make sure you check out the live stream. You'll see myself and Briana on the call. It's a multi-camera production, which is really nice as well. You guys up in Townsville have had that going for a little while, which is great. And we're going to have that in the game of the week each week. And like I said a few times tonight, every single game is going to be live streamed on NBL1.com.au or on the NBL app. So make sure if you haven't checked out the website or downloaded the app, you do so ahead of the weekend. Let's get into the tips, though. I'm going to start off with you, Briana. I want to know who you're tipping in our game of the week.
Okay, so going back to bit of a home stadium for my sister, Logan. I just think historically Logan always has such great teams and they're really hard to beat. So I'm definitely backing Logan women's and Logan men's.
I like it, Briana. How about you, Tiana?
I would say the same. Logan for both.
All right. Pete, you going to switch things up or we're going across the board again?
No, I think the Logan men will be tough to beat. You know, they won't lose too many games at all this year. So I'm going with them in the men, and in the women, I think that they've got a lot of weapons there as well. So they've got the point guard and the power forward spot covered. So yep, I'm going Thunder on both.
Yeah, I'm not going to diverge from the consistency across the tipping in this round. I'm going to stick with Logan as well in those two games. I think it's going to be, two tough games as well. Logan, both sides are really loaded. But Ipswich, again, they had two really exciting games. I think the women are going to perform a lot better than what they would have done down at the Gold Coast. So I expect them to be two awesome games. And don't forget, that is the game of the week. So you want to check us out on NBL1.com.au or download the NBL app. Guys, I can't believe it, but we've been about almost an hour. It's gone by pretty quick for me. Pete, I know you only just pretty much ran in, turned the computer on and joined us. And Tiana, I know you're down in quarantine, but again, giving us about an hour of your time during the week. We really appreciate you guys joining us on the podcast tonight.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'll do a lot more research next time before.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, you guys managed really well, and we wish you guys all the best this weekend. Tiana, we really can't wait to see you back out on the court. And Pete, we'll be checking out those live streams to see those 3-pointers flowing like they always do out of the hands of PC.
No worries. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Briana,
Thank
I'm
you
looking
so
forward
much.
to it. Another awesome weekend. We got a lot of hoops to cover.
I'm so pumped. Cannot wait. And at the end of the weekend too, so we can really go into this knowing where we're sitting for after round 2.
Yeah, but please get out there, go to the games, support your local clubs. And if you not, definitely check out those live streams, NBL1.com.au or the NBL app. Thanks again for tuning in to the second edition of the In the North podcast. We'll check you guys out again next week.